Good morning. This is Angela with today's A Cup of Tea. So yes, new setting, new surroundings. Sometimes you just need to change perspective and shake it up a little bit. So I just decided to do that today. And if you hear chimes in the background, that's because there's chimes in the window in the room next to me with the windows open, and we have a little breeze going on. So you're not hearing things, or you might be hearing things, but not the chimes anyway. So. And I do have a couple little things at the end. I'm going to add a couple of downloads, clearings, if you so choose to take them. That's your decision. That's your choice. But that's a little bit changing up in the format too. More and more, as people are coming to me, I'm talking to people about chronic ailments and issues that they're having in their lives. And this is after they've exhausted all other avenues like Western medicine and drugs and stuff like that, because it's not working. Because it still comes back. And this is anything. Illnesses, injuries, disease, just chronic things as well that just don't seem to heal. And the first thing I tend to ask is, well, what do you think causes this? What do you feel is the cause of this? Now, it's funny because I was on a Skype session with a client the other night, and the client started going down this whole list of things they had, researched, and in like a physician's desk reference, and came up with this whole list of exotic sort of off the wall kind of things. And I waited very politely till they were done, and then I said, okay, I'm going to ask you again, what do you think is the cause of this? And they looked really surprised when I said that. And I said, well, everything that we manifest in our bodies is manifested by something non-physical. It's manifested by a spiritual, a mental, or an emotional state that we are not being fluid to, that we are disallowing and trying to fight instead of allowing it to flow. Or there's a lesson that our higher self is trying to let us learn that we wanted to learn in this life. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, because we manifest our bodies in this life is per the experiences that we want to accomplish. So the kind of body, the kind of person, what you look like, where you're from, all that kind of stuff, all manifest from the lessons that we want to have. So then why wouldn't we have manifestation of lessons that we're trying to learn in our physical ailments if we try to not be fluid to them, and if we feel like for some reason we're not allowed to have these lessons with grace and ease and balance and harmony and joy. And I always say fun and adventure, because I always like the fun and adventure side. But there are many purposes to that, and we have learned that as a culture. We have really almost encouraged drama in many respects. So trauma and drama and illness has captured a lot of our attention, and so we've gone into this habit in many respects on that we have to use that. We have to use that route to gain certain lessons or gain certain experiences. We've convinced ourselves of that. So many times when we do develop an ailment, it's because there's something within us that we're not addressing, that we're not looking at. And so then our higher self says, okay, well then we'll manifest it, so that you're going to have to look at it one way or another. Well, what's happened is, with the advent and extension of Western medicine, we became so lazy in terms of putting a Band-Aid on it instead of finding the root of the cause, that it's a habit, and we are having a hard time, a challenging time in many respects, coming back to our empowerment and coming back to the fact that we cause, and we can will ourselves to be sick, we cause and will ourselves to be well as well. And it's all how we choose to have our experience, regardless of what the sickness is, regardless of what the injury or ailment or the extent is. It is our choice to change it. We can change the reality. We're part of the divine. I think I've spoken before about this woman that I saw, this wonderful, wonderful, beautiful video about she had like stage 4 cancer. Her body was shutting down. She went into a coma, and she had a near-death experience where she stepped outside of her body and she could see everything that caused her cancer. She was only like in her 30s, and her family had written her off as dead. And there she's having this near-death experience, and she could see that she'd had all these anxieties that piled up and piled up and piled up. And then she saw that there was no cause for them, that she was able to release all of them in a moment. And in that moment was able to release all of that cancer and all of that stuff and reset basically everything in her body. And she came back, and they were shocked. And I think it's such a beautiful story because it is such a testament to no matter how far gone you are. I mean, her body was shutting down. You know, one of the most common things that are going on today are people have more allergies than ever before. Well, what is a non-physical cause for allergies? It's an irritant. There's something that we're irritated about. Whether it is we are for some reason irritated at the trees at a certain season, at a certain geography. You know, a lot of times people move from one geography to another, and there's something that they're doing either to escape from it or they haven't resolved and they feel like they don't have a chance to resolve it. And so therefore then they get irritated with the area where they are, where they move to. And then they develop hay fever and allergies. And they've never had them before. And so they're like, well, I don't understand where this came from. Yeah, we can change that. We can go back and find the cause and say, I don't need this. I can resolve this, and now I don't have to have this irritant anymore. I know from personal experience, I developed over my life, from like my early 20s all the way through my mid 30s, I started developing one allergy after another and very weird things, and I got to a point where a lot of things were skin irritants and I get rashes from them. And then I got into this work and I started doing all these clearings and I realized what all these irritants had to do with, and I all but have eliminated the allergies I had. Things I couldn't even touch before, I could put on my skin. I can hold with my bare hands now. And on the rare occasion that I do get some kind of rash, I know it's something that my higher self is saying that go ahead and pay attention to this right now. Do not let it pass. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Clear it up right now, because that's how I know you're going to pay attention, because you know you've cleared all the rest of this stuff. And the last time I got a rash like that, I think I cleared it out within 48 hours. 48 hours when it used to take me like 2 weeks and sometimes more for it to go away. So that's just one of example of many chronic headaches or cancers, and even, you know, all like issues with the different organs. Everything there are books and books and books written on from different perspectives in the spiritual metaphysical sense on the causes of them, diseases and disorders, and how and what the root beliefs are, and the understandings, and the things that are, you know, in need of being resolved and released. So that's a lot of food for thought. So I want you to think about that. That's one part of looking at these. The other part is the first question I always ask, besides what do you think, after what do you think is the cause of this, is how does it serve you to have this? How has it served you to do this? And you know, 75%, maybe 80%, maybe even more of the people I ask that, it only takes them about 5 seconds or less to tell me how it has served them, because they know. Because there's a lesson that they needed to have, or that they chose to have, and that this brought it in for them. It brought my family closer together when we've been really, you know, spread apart. We haven't been talking to each other or whatever. Or I was forced to pay attention to my higher self. I was forced to pay attention to what my soul really wants, because I lost my job, because I was laid up for this period of time. And then I was able to, while I was laid up, think, well, what would I really want to do? What would make my heart sing? What would make my soul sing? What am I here to do? And finally pay attention to what the higher self has been banging on the door, knocking on the back of the head kind of thing, going, hello, pay attention. So many different ways of looking at it. But this was just an introduction for you to start thinking about what ailments, diseases, or injury do you have in your life, and how is it serving you? First of all, how is it serving you? Because there is some way, if it is manifested, there is some way it's serving you. The other is, what do you feel could be the cause? And I'm telling you to go back and do the exercises on tapping into your higher self, and ask straight out. Ask your higher self, not the ego. And if the ego tries to answer you, just, you know, do that tap on the timeless thing and say, no, thank you for your input, but I want to hear from the higher self, and then see what you hear. It's usually the first answer. If you start focusing on your heart, you take a couple of deep breaths, you focus on your heartbeat, you can tap on your heart to keep your focus there, and then ask the question and see what comes through. So anyway, that's where I want you to start. Now, before I go, I said I wanted to add a couple things at the end here. I have set up, in Theta Healing, we can set up space for people to get downloads on certain beliefs. So, because we're talking about being able to experience our lessons, being able to go forward with our lessons without trauma, drama, or illness, without creating or recreating situations for experience or illustration, and that we would love to have our lessons with ease and grace and balance and harmony and joy and fun and excitement, if you so wish. That we want the positive side. We want to have a positive, fun, joyful, easy, graceful experience in getting these lessons. And if you want that, I've set up space in Theta Healing that all you need to do, you don't have to be a Theta healer or anything, is clear your mind, take a couple deep breaths, and then just say, yes, lessons. And then the other part of this is that we have, in a big way, our mass consciousness have become drama kings and queens. We have become addicted to drama and feel like we can have an interesting time of life, or we can have an exciting time of life if we don't have drama in it. So I have a clearing set up also to on teachings on being able to have fun and excitement in without drama or trauma or illness, and that we can go ahead and do all these lessons without having to have drama in them, that things can be exciting and fun without drama and all the feelings associated with it. And then to do that, all you need to do is clear your mind again, take a couple deep breaths, and say, yes, peace. And that's it. And I've gone over, it's almost 11 and a half minutes, but I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. This is Angela with Today's a Cup of Tea.